What's going on, guys? This is Travis Newman, and in this video, I wanted to talk about the importance of listening and communicating with others properly. I feel like many people oftentimes will kind of just be hearing what the other person is saying and not truly and actively listening to them. So I just want to go over why I feel like it's important to better develop your listening and communication skills. Also, I feel like people will communicate with others as kind of a way to just validate their own opinions, whether that opinion is asked for or not. And the thing is, yeah, you can share your own opinions, but you don't want to kind of press them onto somebody and make them make a decision right away. And if they end up disagreeing with you, you can't just be like, I mean, you can, but it's not productive in any way. You can't just be like, oh, I don't like you then, all because you disagree on one thing. And I feel like people do this and it can cause them to not learn as much from hearing another perspective. Even if you disagree with the person, you can always learn something. It might probably 9 out of 10 times you talk to someone, most of the time they probably won't even say something useful, but all it takes is one time for that one person you might already disagree with on things to say something useful and for it to click, and you'll be like, oh, I never thought about it that way, and you learn something new. And that's why it's important for you to not just disregard what people might be saying, even if you disagree with it, or disagree with them on something else, some other topic, because you can possibly learn something from them, and that's only going to help you grow, and it could also help the other person grow as well if you guys are communicating properly. And I feel like you see this happen a lot in politics, like, oh, someone's a Democrat and someone else is a Republican, they don't end up liking each other, and everything that the other person says is just wrong. So you don't even hear them out. You don't even hear their perspective on things probably not even related to politics, just because they're a Republican or a Democrat, just for example. And it almost seems like people have the mindset of, oh, like they're wrong about this one thing, so that must mean that they're wrong about everything in their whole life. Not, I know that's kind of extreme, but people seem to have that mentality when communicating with each other if they disagree on something. But like I said, you should still listen to them and just appreciate that they have a different perspective than you do. And who knows, maybe they'll say something useful to you in your life that you can apply to your life. Not everybody knows everything about everything. So that's why it's important that regardless of your opinion about somebody, or regardless of opposing beliefs you might have with a person, you should still listen and try to understand their perspective to gain a better understanding of yourself and the thing you might be talking about. It's also important to listen to others carefully, because depending on the words they use, the body language they use, you'll be able to tell what kind of person they are, and just things that make them mad, make them sad, make them happy, things that they're passionate about. If you listen carefully and fully focus on what they're saying and how they're saying it, you can kind of just tell what they're feeling. You can also see if they respond to information better by the use of words and hearing, or seeing things, or just feeling things. And when you do this, you can learn all kinds of things about that person, but you can also learn how to better communicate with them in a way that will be more beneficial to them. So say you're trying to give somebody some type of knowledge about something, but they're only hearing it, they're not really getting that full understanding. You have to listen carefully to the words that they're using, because it will let you know how you can better and more effectively communicate with that person to get your point across, so they don't kind of just blow it off, or so they don't miss the point of what you're trying to say. When you do this, you also get better yourself. You'll find more ways to effectively communicate with people. You'll realize how everyone's different and everybody communicates differently. You'll pick up on body language better. When you actively listen and have this type of communication with people, it will make everybody involved just better. It might make you more empathetic to others, more understanding. It can make it easier to make friends with other people, and it will just overall make you more effective in how you communicate with others. The more references you get from just talking to people, and the more knowledge you gain, you'll have a clearer understanding of how certain people communicate and what works best for them. And who knows, you might even get more ideas for yourself in your life as well. It might make you more willing to talk to people you don't even know, and more confident in going about it when you're just completely focusing on them and not as much on what you're going to say as they're talking, for example. And I used to do these things, like especially if, for example, my friends would be talking, I would find myself already thinking of what I'm going to say next because I'm just so into whatever we're talking about. Or sometimes I'd even end up interrupting them and I just look like a complete idiot. And it just caused me to kind of miss a lot of things that they might say. And it also might make them not want to even talk. And once I realized this, I realized that I had to put a change to it like immediately. So I started trying to treat every conversation I had as an opportunity to learn something new or as an opportunity to grow. And I wasn't perfect at it. I'm not saying that I was. There were still times where I kind of fell prey to my old habit and my old way of communicating. But I feel like that I have grown a lot more and I'm a much better listener than I was a few years ago. And once I did this, that's when I started to learn all these things more myself, also with the help of like reading books and stuff like that. But once you really get out there and just have conversations with people, you can begin to pick up on this stuff and you'll be able to communicate more effectively. And when you do these things, it makes people want to communicate with you more and it makes them more willing to kind of listen to you, and it really makes them want to be around you more because you're so great at listening. And obviously people love to talk about themselves, but in doing this you'll have more productive conversations with people and you might even be able to help people more effectively as well. You may start even bouncing ideas off each other and kind of just keep bumping each other up, if that makes sense. And most of the time they will just genuinely enjoy your presence. So that's about it for this video. I wanted to talk about this because something had came up in my life recently where it made me think about listening and communication. So I wanted to share that with you guys. But to close off this video, I want you guys to try to have a conversation with somebody. It could be a family member, a friend, or even a stranger. And I want you to just try to actively listen to them and try to just really pick up on things, really hear what they have to say and really listen to it, take it in, process it, and then respond. And when you do this, you'll have a much more effective communication than you would if you're just kind of, having like a superficial conversation about whatever it might be and you're just like nonstop talking. You don't even let them get time to get a sentence in. Just try this and see how much better the communication will be. See how much more you'll learn about that person and see how their body language will be because you're listening to them. They'll just love talking to you. Let me know in the comments if you tried this and what your experience was, or just let me know what you guys think in the comments about this video. I'd love to hear your point of view on effective communication and maybe even some things that worked better for you. I hope this video gave you guys some sort of value. If it did, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.